Hello and welcome. On this episode of Abnormal Garage, we look into why our 1980s Hot Point refrigerator is not functioning correctly. We already took the plate out of the bottom of the freezer. We pried the styrofoam off. And looky here. Our coil is completely frozen. It's a solid block of ice, which means this unit has not been defrosting. It's pretty obvious why this wire that goes to the element is completely melted. So we're gonna let this thing thaw overnight. It looks like the terminal for the heater element is completely melted as well. So we're not going to be able to salvage that. So we're going to have to order us a new heater element once this defrosts and replace it. No, it's actually day 2 of working on our 1980s Hot Point refrigerator. We got our brand new heater element in the other day. So let's go ahead and get this installed. It's beautiful and defrosted right now. Should be dry. We had to wait about a week for all the parts. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is remove this melted wire mess right here. Of course, the refrigerator's unplugged, if anybody was wondering. Man, this is back when they actually made wire. We'll twist these back together again. Man, this is genuine American-made 80s technology right here. They just don't make them like they used to. We'll twist these together. Then we'll twist these together. And then we'll twist them both together. And now that we've ensured that we'll have a twisted future for a while, we're going to get a connector on that. We'll be right back. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put this heat shrink on that we can put over everything. We'll slide that nice and out of the way. Second thing we're going to do is, I stock these in mass, these heat shrink spade connectors. Should work perfectly for our application. You just slide that on like that. And you go ahead and you crimp it. So the next thing we have to do is pick up this piece, which will allow us to lift our element out. Oh yeah, that's toasted. You'll notice there's some green in the element. No matter what you do, they always seem to get algae buildup in them. But anyway, alright, we got ourselves a new element here from Amazon. I believe it was 40 bucks or something like that. It wasn't an ungodly amount of money in comparison to the cost of the new refrigerator. So we just drop this in. it has perches that it sets in, like so. And this piece drops right on top. Okay. We'll go ahead and plug this one in now. Well, let's get our heat gun out. Got to be careful to melt the heat shrink, but not the styrofoam. If I can't do it, I'll have to pull the element back out and heat shrink this. But it looks like we're doing it. Alright, so here's a close-up of what we got going on here. We got this connection. Got our solderless connector on there, our heat shrink over that to seal that. Same thing on this side. So I'm gonna take a vacuum and vacuum all this foam dust out of here. But other than that, we should be good to go. Okay, so we got our refrigerator plugged back in. I hear the compressor running. The coils are starting to get cold. We're not going to be able to test this just yet. This here is the defrost thermostat, and unless this unit is cold, the defrost element will not work even if the timer calls for the unit to defrost. So we're going to have to wait a couple hours until this gets cold before we can even test to see if the element's going to work. So stay tuned. We'll be back with that. Oh, it's been a couple hours now. I put an ice block next to the defrost thermostat, and much to my surprise, I came back and I felt over the element and it was hot. So it's working again. So let's go ahead and put this thing back together. Okay, let's start by putting the heat shield, this thin piece of aluminum. Now I did take some aluminum foil and kind of go over it a few times to patch the holes in it. Now obviously the purpose of that aluminum sheet is to keep the heat off of this piece of insulation. Put these wires back down. Alright. Okay, now we've got to install the actual deck to the freezer end. The front of this tucks under this lip, so short screw goes back by the fan. Okay. And then one of these sides is stripped out, so I only usually put one screw in. Okay. And then one screw goes here. And the other screw goes here. push it one hand. There we go. This piece here just snaps right in, just like that. And then this lovely wrap goes in. Sits on these two pins like that. Snaps there and there. Alright, so we take a rag, wipe all this down, and we're good to go. So we'll let it run for a couple days and monitor the temperatures. But I have a feeling it's going to be fine. It has lasted since the 80s. In closing, I would say if you've got an old appliance or whatever, it's always better to fix them instead of replace them, because this repair was $40 and we've got a working fridge again. And these old ones are built way better than what you can buy today. There's no computers or anything to fail. So anyway, if you like what you see, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next episode of Abby Normal Garage.